I think I need some help on this book that I'm writing because I'm having a hard time thinking of a scenario that is comically ridiculous in this book. So the concept of this book is essentially, what essentially happens when businesses own the government. And it's supposed to be a fictional world, and I'm trying to exaggerate things to basically say things like I have a thing. Like I kind of got the idea from Futurama where like you have advertisements when you're sleeping, and like I sent this idea to my friend, and he sent me an actual picture of a toilet paper holder that requires advertisements. Like that, it requires you watch an advertisement for you to be able to get toilet paper, and if you want more toilet paper, you have to watch another advertisement. And it's like, all right, that when real life is funnier and more ridiculous than like what I could imagine, it's very hard. It's so fucking hard to make fun of the fact that we have a society that is nothing but bullshit we don't fucking want or need, doing things that we don't like, to have things that we barely care about, and sacrificing relationships, friendships, hobbies, anything that might be interesting or take time to keep this going. I mean, it's hard to make fun of that. I mean, like, for God's sakes, we have billboards at some beaches. Like, you can't, like, there are some beaches that you can't go to without seeing an advertisement, because the constant idea is for you to buy shit. Like, that's the mentality for every single fucking thing that we have in society. And so it's hard to exaggerate it, because it's like when you, it's like if you, like, I'm going to make a Hitler metaphor, but it's like, because Hitler is like somebody who everybody considers to be so fucking bad that it's like over the top to compare somebody to Hitler. Or it's like, it's, a lot of people view it as the end all be all, or like the devil or whatever. Like, imagine like if you tried to write a story where Hitler was somehow more evil. Like, that's kind of like what I feel like. It's not like I'm saying that the society is evil, but I'm saying it's ridiculous. Like, how do I make it to where it's just that much more ridiculous, to where it's obviously a fucking joke, because I mean, like, when I'm writing it, like, I show my fiance what I had, and she told me that like a lot of it just seemed pretty familiar. And like, I was coming up with things that don't quite exist, but like you can kind of imagine it existing. Like one of the concepts I had was like, what was you basically, a part of your contract at your job kind of requires you to buy stuff from your job. And a lot of like policies for being a team player would just be kind of an excuse for you to either work for free, or for them finding ways to require you to give money, or you lose your job. And I mean, it's not the fact that when I say that, like, and especially if I say it out loud, because when I type it, it doesn't sound the same as when I say it out loud. Like, it sounds realistic, or it sounds like I feel like if I were to say that, like, somebody somewhere would be like, yeah, a much more minor version of that actually happened to me. And I can't believe I'm saying this, but I really feel like some shit like that's going to actually become legal, though. Like, I don't know. It's not that I'm trying to sit here and say that, like, buying shit is bad, but, like, we're obsessed with it. And we're obsessed with generating profit, but we don't make anything. And then we keep obsessing over these profit margins at the cost of people, to the point to where, like, jobs that shouldn't be for tips are jobs that are for tips now. Or personal time and personal leave is considered like your boss giving you the option to take a vacation now, or like you having an option for like one health insurance company. It's considered a good thing. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's stupid. It's stupid. It's like, at what point does this start to break? Because the more I think about, like, I was talking with my buddy who is, like, I would say he might be a little bit more liberal than I am. I can't really tell. But, like, I tend to be a little bit more of an extremist in a lot of things. I tend to be very extreme in my thoughts. And, like, in my mentality, I'm like, where's the revolution? Like, France had their revolutions. A lot of these other countries have had constant riots and protests and people destroying shit. And, like, people are complaining about people destroying Teslas. But to be honest, like, I think we need to start breaking some more shit, because average American life is not really the best. Like, it's a constant series of distractions. Like, people tell me shit and they say, like, well, look at the things that you can do. Like, if I wanted to right now, I could probably purchase, what's the average cost of a television now? Let's say, like, a good television is like, what, $300-$500? Let's say it's $500. So 2 of them would be $1,000. So I could purchase for 20. I could purchase probably around, before tax, I could purchase 200 televisions. Let's say 150 televisions. I could purchase 150 flat screen TVs with all that's in my savings right now. But, like, my rent is obnoxious, and all rent right now is, like, obnoxious, and everything is, like, renting it, and it's like everybody's trying to nickel and dime you. Like, we had arguments I remember the news a lot better than most people, because I feel like people kind of forget things that used to be argued and things that people used to say. Like, people used to argue, like, hey, why aren't cell phone companies required to give you unlimited data? And, like, the conversation was, like, somebody bought a cell phone and kept the cell phone off. Like, I think it was like a journalist or a reporter did this. Like, turned the cell phone off. Like, didn't even turn it on for an entire month. And the phone was still using data. And it's like, okay, it doesn't really cost you anything to really give us more data. And you're basically just trying to nickel and dime us. And if we can't even, like, have the option to not use it, then how can you honestly say that you make us pay for it, you know? And, like, it's honestly to a point to where that's kind of what a lot of things are. Like, I have limited data for my home internet, and I have, like, a very specific speed that is well within somebody else's control. And I pay to, like, very rarely go over my data, but like, I still have to worry about that. And I only have an option for one internet company. Like, I can't, in my apartment, I can't go to a different internet company. Like, where I live, it's all Xfinity. So, like, it's basically that. It's not, it's slowly, like, it feels like you don't really have a lot of options in life, while being told that you have options and everything is your fault and your responsibility. But, like, competition is always down. Everything is another reason to spend another couple dollars, and you're constantly encouraged to spend your money to a point to where, like, half the time people say, like, you need to be financially responsible, and the other half the time that people are saying, like, well, you have to buy these things. Like, you can't have a society where you have both mentalities. Like, you either can be fiscally irresponsible and save up for a house, or you can have houses be too expensive for any reasonable person to be able to save for without paying 80% of their wages to their mortgage, and never getting sick, and never having a problem with their fucking car because it's unsustainable. Like, I haven't bought a house because mortgages right now are so absurd that the mortgage itself might be a little bit cheaper than my house, but the taxes would be more, and the insurance would probably be more, and everybody wants to have an HOA, and everybody wants to try to control every single aspect of your life. And I feel like this is the crux of the problem, is that people know this. That this is the vague thing that is affecting everybody's lives, and it's the reason why everybody's so pissed off and so politically divided. Because what we have is people that take the frustration of these problems and divert it elsewhere. You know, it's not, and it gets very frustrating for me because I don't care about the problems that a lot of people care about, because it seems to me like it's a distraction. Like, it seems to me that if I were to go on this channel and I were to say things like, all of this is the fault of trans people, I would have probably a pretty absurd following of people. I would have a lot of people who want to hear that, and I think that those people are kind of conditioned to want to hear that. Like regardless of what you think about trans people, like, how many trans people do you actually fucking know? I don't fucking care. I don't fucking care. Like, so much of the conversation is about trans people. I'm not fucking trans. I know one trans person, and I'm not even friends with that person. We were acquaintances for like a little bit, and that's pretty much fucking it. Every other trans person I either don't know or I've met and I've just seen them that one fucking time. And honestly, like, I couldn't even tell you how it's relevant to my life. And even if it was relevant, the relevance would be something taught in class that maybe I agree or disagree with. Big fucking whoop. But like, people would have me believe that like kids are getting surgeries in classes, or like all of these extra fucking things. And like, it's so obsessive to a point to where like kids who aren't even going through puberty are like being told that like there's an advantage. And it's hard for me to take all this stuff seriously, like the volleyball shit. Like, I have conservative friends who tried to tell me that the transgender volleyball player spiked the ball so hard that it killed a student. And then when I look at the news story, it's, well, it gave him a concussion and she's never the same. And then when I looked more into the story, it was, well, actually, she's like a spokesperson for anti-trans people, no, for like an anti-trans movement, and she played other sports after that. And it's like, okay, well, I have had concussions. My fiance played softball when she was in college and in high school. She's had multiple concussions. My most recent concussion was probably a few fucking years ago because I hit my fucking head on a barbell. Like, I don't understand. And I mean, the coaches were even saying like, yeah, like, that's not even our best player though. And even if all that stuff wasn't true, the kid still didn't die. And like, what does it have to do with me being able to buy a house? Let's I want America to refocus the problems to the actual fucking problems. Like, what does that have to do with me buying a house? Why are we trying to go to war? What are these tariffs actually going to do to me? Because I just started playing guitar again. Most guitars are made overseas, and a lot of the materials come from overseas. So like, that's not going to be a cheap fucking thing for me anymore. And there are American-made guitar companies, but there are a lot of companies that really aren't American-made things. And it's like, okay, why are we allowing people to be negatively impacted? And why is it that people have such a hard time explaining what the benefits of this are? And it's like, well, you just need to not be weak. And that's basically what people have told me. And people have told me to start a business, and people have told me to do this and told me to do that. And it's like, well, no, like, I want to be able to exist, do what I need to do, and be fine. Like, I'm not even asking to like be overtly successful. I'm not asking to like never have to fucking work, but I'm asking like, why is it that the way that we think about this stuff is so angled to benefit people? Like, here's a thought experiment, right? And this is coming from somebody who's worked in law enforcement. So I want you to think about this. If a company tries to stifle your wages or tries to violate your rights, a lot of people don't really have the option for a civil suit, especially if you're an immigrant. But also, a lot of people don't necessarily know all of their rights, and businesses will try to make sure that you aren't really allowed to talk about certain things. Like, there are people in this country right now that get fired for trying to start unions or even mentioning it. Like, Amazon is very notorious for this. Firing people for that is illegal. But the law, in my state at least, makes it pretty much legal to fire people for any reason. So even though you can't legally fire me for certain reasons, you also don't have to provide a reason for why you fired me. So essentially, it is legal to fire me for illegal reasons, because you don't even have to have a reason for it. And all of the HR and administrations for jobs are not meant to benefit employees. They're meant to benefit the jobs themselves and the companies themselves, because they're trying to keep them from being liably sued. So we have that. And then we have something like theft, right? So if I have, like, this phone right now, right? Like, let's say this is an iPhone. Right now, this is an iPhone 13. I don't know how much it retails for, but some iPhones retail for $1,000. Let's say this phone retails for $1,000. Somebody steals this phone from me. That somebody has definitely stole something that's worth $1,000 to me, right? I think that's somewhat fair, because that's kind of what I'm paying for, and that's what's paid for it, and that's how the phone plan kind of works and all that sort of stuff. I think that makes a little sense, right? But that's not the same thing as if you steal an iPhone from the Apple company, because iPhones don't even cost $1 to make, which is another thing that, like, I think people don't understand about these tariffs. Like, bringing phone manufacturing here wouldn't work, because even if you put like 1,000% tariff on something that costs the company 10 cents to get here, it's $1. Like, prices don't even have to change, and these people are still making a lot of money, but it's just affecting industries because people are greedy and they want to make sure they meet their bottom lines. But let's say it costs $1 to make this phone, right? It costs $1 for Apple to make this phone and have millions of them shipped over here. The average cost is about $1. Let's be generous and say $10 for a phone, right? If I steal a phone that costed you $10, just because you're trying to sell it for $1,000 doesn't mean I stole $1,000. Like, I stole $10, but it's priced at $1,000. It doesn't matter how much it costs you, including labor, to get that product. It matters what it's priced at. So realistically, it's treated the same. But if Apple doesn't sell all of their iPhones, which I'm pretty sure regularly happens in most industries, right? Like, there's always products that aren't always sold. That's why if you don't buy the new iPhone, which is what I try to do, is I try not to buy new phones. I try to wait a few years until they get a little bit cheaper. Like, they get cheaper. Things get cheaper over time as they have newer and newer models, and then they try to phase out the older models, right? So, like, let's say, I don't know if you can still buy an iPhone 13. I don't know what iPhone we're on now, but let's say that this phone is available now for like $500. All of a sudden, if you steal it, it's only $500 because that's what they value it at. But it still costed them $10 to make it. So, like, the way that we view things is it doesn't even have to cost a business that much money, because stealing an iPhone doesn't really affect these companies, because they have so many that they can just put another one out on the floor and it's not that big of a deal. And there's also insurance. I'm pretty sure there's insurance that covers the liability of it. They have all of these systems, and you have loss prevention, which is what I do for a career. It's just a lot of... It's a weird perspective, because it's not what it costs you. Like, I couldn't take this phone now and, like, tell you that it's worth $1,000, because it would be the current market value on what it costs. But it's still costing me $1,000. I don't know. It's a little bit lopsided. I think that we have too much of an obsession with people and money, because we have a lot of stupid people who, because they have a couple of extra dollars in their bank account, and 9 times out of 10, they didn't even make it from scratch. They either got born into an industry, or they were born with money and then just used that money to start their own businesses or whatever. people's opinions automatically get valued more based on how successful they are. But like, success isn't measured by necessarily what you do, it's what opportunities that you have. There are a lot of innovators, and there are a lot of smart people that can definitely break the mold and become successful, but you can't really tell the difference between them. I don't know. Like, I honestly feel like if it's kind of silly that I can literally say the exact same opinions that I do now. I can have the exact same opinions that I have now. And if I had $1 million in my bank account, more people would want to listen to me, because I could just say I have $1 million. And I can give a bullshit reason for how I made that much money. I could sit here and tell you that I worked harder. I could sit here and tell you fucking X or Y, or I could sit here and tell you that I went to college or I didn't go to college and I dropped out of high school and I'm successful regardless, for whatever fucking reason. I can sit here and bullshit you. And there will be people who will not only watch that video, but they will splice that video, and they will have reel after reel after reel of just fucking